When we begin to look closely at the way our minds work, we often discover that the majority of our daily struggles are not caused by events themselves, but by the meaning we attach to them. A single memory can replay over and over until it feels larger than life, and a single worry about the future can steal the joy of an entire day. We forget that these are simply thoughts passing through like clouds across the sky. They are not permanent, and they are not truth carved in stone. Yet when we mistake them for absolute facts, they can chain us down and make us feel powerless. To reclaim our freedom, we must learn to see them for what they truly are. Think about a time when you believed something about yourself so strongly that it felt undeniable. Perhaps you thought you were not good enough or that you would never succeed. In the moment, those thoughts might have seemed like hard evidence, but later, when circumstances changed, you realized they were never as real as they seemed. This shows us that thoughts are like visitors knocking at our door. Some are kind and some are unpleasant, but none of them define the person who lives inside. Recognizing this is the beginning of inner freedom. We are not our thoughts, we are the awareness that notices them. Feelings are much the same. Emotions rise and fall like waves in the ocean, and yet in the middle of a storm we convince ourselves that the storm will never end. Fear feels permanent. Sadness feels endless. Anger feels like it defines us. But when we look back at our lives, we see countless emotions have come and gone. The proof is in our own memory. The intensity fades, and what remains is our resilience. Remembering this gives us strength to hold feelings lightly instead of gripping them until they become unbearable. Many people suffer because they try to fight every uncomfortable thought and push away every difficult feeling. The harder they struggle, the tighter the trap becomes. Imagine falling into quicksand. The instinct is to thrash around, but that only pulls you deeper. The way out is to stop fighting and instead create space to move gently. The same is true with the mind. When you stop wrestling with thoughts and feelings, they begin to lose their power. You realize you can breathe even in the middle of them. This is not weakness, but the highest form of strength. It helps to picture the mind like a busy train station. Trains arrive every few minutes filled with passengers. Some carry joy and love, while others carry fear and doubt. You cannot stop the trains from coming, but you can choose which ones you step on. You do not have to board every thought that pulls into your station. You can let them arrive and let them leave while you remain grounded on the platform. This simple act of choice is what separates freedom from torture. You are not at the mercy of every train of thought that comes your way. There is a story of a monk who was once asked how he manages to stay calm in every situation. He replied that he does not control his thoughts, but he chooses which ones he invites for tea. This is a powerful image for all of us. Thoughts will knock at our door every day. Some will be pleasant and some will be disturbing. We do not have to open the door for each of them. By choosing which ones we allow to sit and which ones we let pass, we shape our inner world. This is a practice that grows with patience and courage. When you catch yourself believing a painful thought, ask yourself if it is a fact or just a story. This small pause can change everything. A fact is something undeniable, like the sun rising in the east. A story is a collection of assumptions, interpretations, and predictions. Most of our mental suffering comes from stories, not facts. When you notice the difference, you begin to loosen the grip they have on you. This is how awareness dissolves the chains of mental torture. It is like turning on the light in a dark room and realizing the monster was only a shadow. You might wonder how to actually apply this in daily life when thoughts feel overwhelming. One simple way is to use the phrase, "I notice I am having the thought." For example, instead of saying, "I am a failure," You say, I notice I am having the thought that I am a failure. This creates space between you and the thought. Suddenly, you are no longer fused with it. You become the observer rather than the prisoner. That small shift gives you room to breathe and room to choose. From that space, freedom begins. This does not mean you should ignore every thought or pretend feelings are unimportant. They often carry messages worth hearing. Fear can warn us of danger. Sadness can point to something we value deeply. Anger can reveal where boundaries have been crossed. The key is to listen without letting them define us. You can hear the message without letting the messenger control your life. This balance allows you to grow wiser and stronger. You use thoughts and feelings as guides rather than chains. Another practice is to imagine your thoughts as words written on a flowing river. Each sentence floats past on the surface of the water. You watch them drift away without needing to grab them. Even heavy and dark thoughts cannot sink you when you learn to let them flow. Over time, the river clears and you notice there is always space between each thought. That space is your true self, the place where peace lives no matter what storms pass overhead. This vision can carry you through the most difficult days. The most beautiful part of this journey is realizing that you are not broken. Having painful thoughts and strong emotions does not mean something is wrong with you. It means you are alive. Every person you admire has walked through the same storms. What sets them apart is not that they had fewer thoughts or lighter feelings, but that they learned to stand in the middle of them with courage. You can do the same. You are stronger than the stories your mind tells you. You are the awareness that sees them come and sees them go. So let us remember this truth whenever the mind begins its endless chatter. Thoughts and feelings are not facts. They are passing experiences like waves, clouds, or visitors at your door. They do not define you. You are not the pain you feel or the worry you think. You are the strength that notices them and still keeps moving. Hold this truth close and let it free you from the torture of believing every story your mind creates. In that freedom you will find peace, and in that peace you will find yourself. One of the greatest skills you can develop in life is the ability to step back from your own inner world and see it with fresh eyes. Most people are swept away by their thoughts and emotions as though they are caught in a current with no choice but to be dragged along. But what if you could rise above the waves for a moment and see them from a higher perspective? What if you could observe your thoughts and feelings with curiosity instead of judgment? That simple shift can change the entire way you experience your life. It is not about escaping your mind, but about changing your relationship with it. Curiosity is the key that unlocks this freedom. When you are curious, you do not rush to label your thoughts as good or bad, or your feelings as weak or strong. Instead, you become an explorer within yourself. Imagine a scientist studying the stars. They do not judge the stars for shining brightly or dimly. They simply observe and learn. In the same way, you can observe your mind with the same calm attention. Every thought becomes a clue rather than a command. Every feeling becomes a message rather than a verdict. When you practice observing instead of reacting, you begin to notice patterns that you never saw before. You realize that the same fears tend to repeat themselves like a broken record. You notice that your mind exaggerates problems when you are tired or stressed. You see that sadness often comes in waves that crest and then fade away. This awareness is powerful because it shows you that you do not have to fight every thought or drown in every feeling. You can wait patiently and let the cycle pass. Awareness gives you choice. Judgment is what turns ordinary thoughts and feelings into torture. The moment you tell yourself, I should not feel this way, or I should not think like this, you add another heavy layer of suffering. But when you replace judgment with curiosity, the burden begins to lift. Instead of saying, I am weak for feeling anxious, you ask, what is this anxiety trying to tell me? Instead of saying, I am terrible for being angry, you ask what boundary might need protection. By doing this, you turn pain into insight and struggle into growth. Judgment closes doors, but curiosity opens them. To observe yourself without judgment requires kindness toward your own humanity. You will have thoughts that scare you and feelings that overwhelm you. That does not mean you are broken. It means you are alive. When you notice these inner storms with compassion, you take away their sting. You no longer punish yourself for being human. You remind yourself that everyone has an inner world that rises and falls. This shared truth connects you to others and helps you walk through life with more grace. Compassion and curiosity walk hand in hand. It may help to think of your mind as a stage where countless actors perform. Some are loud and demanding, while others are quiet and subtle. You cannot always control which actor walks on stage, but you can choose how you respond. Do you believe every word they say, or do you watch their performance with awareness? You can learn to sit in the audience of your own mind and observe the drama without being consumed by it. When you watch with curiosity, you can laugh at the absurd roles and learn from the serious ones. You become the director rather than a helpless character. This practice of observing without judgment is not about detachment or apathy. It is about creating space to respond wisely instead of reacting blindly. When anger rises, you can pause and notice it instead of lashing out. When fear whispers, you can acknowledge it without letting it control your decisions. When joy appears, you can savor it fully without fearing it will end. This balanced way of relating to your inner world allows you to live more fully in the present moment. You are no longer a puppet pulled by invisible strings. You are a conscious being making conscious choices. Of course, this takes practice and patience. Your mind has been trained for years to react automatically and to judge harshly. At first, observing may feel strange or even impossible, but like any skill, it grows stronger with time. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Soon you will find yourself noticing thoughts before they spiral and feelings before they overwhelm. That moment of noticing is your victory. It means you are awake. It means you are no longer living on autopilot. Every small step in awareness is a step toward freedom. There is a simple exercise you can try to strengthen this skill. Sit quietly for a few minutes and close your eyes. Notice whatever thought or feeling arises without trying to change it. Say to yourself, I notice there is a thought, or I notice there is a feeling. Then let it pass like a cloud across the sky. Do not judge it. Do not cling to it, just watch. This practice may seem small, but it is powerful. It trains your mind to create space between awareness and reaction. Over time, that space will become your greatest ally. When you learn to observe yourself with curiosity, you also begin to see the world differently. You realize that other people are also wrestling with their own thoughts and feelings. You stop judging them harshly because you understand what it means to be human. Compassion flows more naturally and patience grows stronger. You can listen to others more deeply because you are not trapped in your own inner noise. Relationships improve and conflicts soften. By changing the way you see yourself, you change the way you see the world. This is how inner peace ripples outward. Life will never stop bringing thoughts and feelings. The mind will continue to generate stories, and the heart will continue to feel deeply. But when you have the skill to observe with curiosity instead of judgment, you no longer fear them. You stand steady like a tree in the wind. The branches may sway and the leaves may shake, but the roots remain firm. You are no longer tortured by every storm that passes through. Instead, you learn from them and grow stronger with each one. This is the true gift of awareness. It is the foundation of lasting freedom. So remember this when the noise of the mind begins to rise and your emotions feel heavy. You do not have to fight them, and you do not have to judge them. You only need to step back and watch with the eyes of curiosity. Thoughts are not chains and feelings are not prisons. They are visitors passing through. When you see them clearly, their power to torture you dissolves. You become the calm witness of your own experience, and in that calm you find peace. Let this practice guide you every day, and it will lead you to freedom. There is something powerful about being anchored in the present moment. The mind loves to drag us backward into memories or push us forward into worries, and both directions steal the life that is happening right now. When you learn to ground yourself in the present, you give yourself the gift of clarity and peace. It is like standing with both feet firmly planted on solid earth while storms swirl above your head. You cannot control the wind, but you can stand steady. This is what grounding practices offer us. Grounding does not mean escaping reality or pretending everything is perfect. It means finding a way to remind yourself that no matter what thoughts shout or what emotions surge, you are still here. You are breathing, your heart is beating, and the world continues around you. By returning to these simple truths, you create stability within yourself. The present moment is always safer than the stories of the past or the predictions of the future. When you choose to return here, you reclaim your strength. Think about the last time you were completely caught in worry. Your mind may have painted images of failure or disaster. Your body may have felt restless or heavy. But if you paused and noticed your breath, if you felt the chair beneath you or the ground beneath your feet, suddenly the storm lost its grip. This is the power of grounding. It pulls you back into what is real rather than what is imagined. The more you practice, the quicker you can shift from panic to presence. You remember that you are not helpless. One of the simplest grounding practices is focusing on the breath. The breath is always with you and always in the present. When you bring attention to the inhale and exhale, you create a rhythm that calms the nervous system. Every deep breath tells your body that it is safe. Every exhale releases tension. The mind may wander, but the breath brings it back home again and again. This is not about controlling thoughts, but about finding an anchor stronger than them. In the rhythm of breathing, you rediscover peace. Another powerful practice is connecting with your senses. When the mind is busy, you can pause and ask yourself, what do I see? What do I hear? What do I smell? What do I taste? And what do I feel? This shifts attention away from endless thinking and back into the body. Suddenly you notice the warmth of sunlight, the sound of birds, the scent of coffee, the texture of clothing against your skin. These small details ground you in the richness of now. They remind you that life is happening in this moment, not in the stories your mind spins. Grounding can also come through movement. Walking slowly and noticing each step, stretching with awareness, or even feeling the weight of your body as you rise from a chair can bring you back to the present. Movement reminds you that you are not just a mind lost in thought, but a living being rooted in the world. This is why practices like yoga, dance, or simply walking outside can be so healing. They bring you out of the prison of your head and back into the strength of your body. The body becomes a doorway to peace. Sometimes grounding comes through gratitude. When you pause to notice what is good right now, the grip of fear and sadness weakens. You might think of a friend who cares for you, a skill you have learned, or simply the fact that you are alive to experience another day. Gratitude brings you into the present by shifting attention from what is missing to what is here. It does not erase pain, but it balances it with perspective. Gratitude is like sunlight breaking through clouds, reminding you that even in storms, light exists. There will be times when grounding feels difficult. The mind will scream louder than your breath, and emotions will feel heavier than gratitude. In those moments, it is important to remember that grounding is not about perfection. It is about practice. Even if you return to the present for only one breath, that single moment of presence matters. Every time you ground yourself, you strengthen the habit. Over time, the present becomes a refuge you can return to again and again. Persistence is the path to peace. You may find it helpful to create small rituals that ground you during the day. It could be sipping tea slowly, pausing for 3 breaths before answering the phone, or touching the earth with your hands when you feel overwhelmed. These simple acts become reminders that you are not trapped in the stories of the mind. They bring you back to the truth that you are more than your thoughts and feelings. Rituals anchor you in the rhythm of life and keep you connected to your strength. They are small but deeply powerful. Grounding also helps in relationships. When you are present, you listen more fully. You notice the tone of voice, the expression on a face, the feeling in the space between words. This deep presence builds trust and connection. Instead of reacting from your own swirling thoughts, you respond from calm awareness. Conflicts soften, conversations deepen, and love flows more freely. Being grounded in the present does not just heal you, it heals the way you connect with others. Presence is one of the greatest gifts you can give. As you grow in grounding, you realize that life is not something to be controlled, but something to be lived. The past cannot be changed and the future cannot be guaranteed, but this moment right here is yours. When you fully inhabit it, even ordinary experiences become extraordinary. The taste of food, the sound of laughter, the beauty of a sunset, all of these reveal their richness when you are present. Grounding opens your eyes to the miracles hidden in plain sight. Life becomes more alive. So let this be your reminder. Whenever thoughts try to trap you or feelings try to drown you, return to the present moment. Breathe deeply, feel your body, connect with your senses, and notice what is here. You are stronger than the noise of the mind and steadier than the waves of emotion. Grounding brings you home to yourself, and in that home you will always find peace. When we look at everything we have explored together, the path to freedom becomes clear. Thoughts and feelings will always come and go, but they do not have to hold you prisoner. You can remember that they are not facts but passing experiences. You can step back with curiosity instead of judgment and watch them like clouds drifting in the sky. You can ground yourself in the present moment and find strength in the simple truth of being alive. This journey is not about erasing your mind or silencing your heart. It is about learning a new relationship with them. It is about standing tall in the middle of storms and knowing you will not be broken. Every time you notice a thought without clinging to it, every time you welcome a feeling without fearing it, every time you return to the present, you are reclaiming your power. Step by step, you are building a life of peace, clarity, and strength. So as you move forward, carry this truth with you. You are not your thoughts, and you are not your feelings. You are the awareness that holds them, the presence that observes them, the strength that outlasts them. Within you is a calm space that no storm can destroy. Return to that space again and again, and you will no longer be tortured by the mind. You will walk free, and in that freedom you will find the life you were always meant to live.